Rays of sun shimmered through pale blue water. Palm trees rose from hot white sand. It was the very picture of paradise. This is the story of how paradise turned to hell, the Battle of Tarawa. The Pacific Ocean is vast, dotted with thousands of small islands. Most of them went unknown to the wider world. But in November 1943, one of those islands became the center of the most brutal battle the United States had ever fought. A small piece of coral called Tarawa. The Marines who landed there would later say that in just 3 days they saw a lifetime of hell. Tarawa was part of the Gilbert Islands, a tiny atoll barely large enough to appear on a map. The island of Betio, where the battle took place, was only 2 miles long and half a mile wide. But its importance was enormous. After victories at Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands, the United States began its island-hopping strategy, a plan to push across the Pacific toward Japan. Tarawa was the first major test of this strategy. If it could not be taken, the entire campaign risked grinding to a halt. The Japanese defenders understood Tarawa's value. They transformed the island into a fortress. They built deep bunkers of coconut logs and concrete. They dug trenches, planted mines, set up heavy machine gun nests, coastal guns, and barbed wire. And surrounding the island was a coral reef that made landing dangerous and unpredictable. The garrison was made up of around 4,500 men, including Japanese soldiers and Korean laborers forced to build the defenses. They were ordered to fight to the last man. The American plan was overwhelming in scale. 18,000 Marines supported by a powerful naval fleet. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and aircraft carriers all prepared to pound the island before the assault. The strategy was simple. Bombard the defenses, land the Marines, break through the fortifications, and seize the airfield that dominated Betio. But Tarawa had its own plans. Before dawn on November 20th, American landing craft pushed toward the island. The operation depended on a high tide that would allow boats to cross the coral reef. But the tide did not rise high enough. Most of the Higgins boats ran aground far from shore. Marines were forced to climb over the sides and wade through chest-deep water while Japanese guns opened fire. Bullets ripped across the surface. Mortar shells exploded among the waves. Many Marines drowned under the weight of their gear. Others never made it past the reef. Only the amphibious tractors, the LVTs, could crawl over the coral and reach the beach. But there were too few of them, and many were destroyed almost immediately. Those who reached the seawall found that the Japanese bunkers were still intact. The naval bombardment had not destroyed the strongest defenses. Marines were pinned down behind the overturned sand and concrete, calling for help, waiting for tanks and reinforcements that were still struggling through the surf. The battle became a desperate fight for inches. By the second day, American tanks finally made it ashore. They blasted openings in the Japanese lines as Marines fought from bunker to bunker, using grenades, flamethrowers, and whatever they could carry. The defenders fought with complete determination. Many refused to surrender, choosing instead to fight until the bunker collapsed or caught fire. On the third day, November 23rd, the last major defenses were broken. Betio Island was declared secure. The American flag rose above the shattered ruins of Tarawa. But victory came at a terrible cost. 1,027 servicemen were killed and 2,380 were wounded. The Japanese suffered 4,690 killed, with 17 soldiers taken capture alongside 129 Korean laborers. It was one of the bloodiest battles per square mile in American history. The Japanese garrison was virtually annihilated. Out of thousands of defenders and laborers, only a handful survived. For the United States, Tarawa was a harsh lesson. It showed that tides, reefs, and terrain could be as deadly as enemy fire. It proved that shallow draft landing vehicles were essential, leading to widespread use of amphibian tractors in future assaults. It revealed that bombardments needed to be longer, heavier, and more accurate. And it demonstrated that the Pacific campaign would be far more brutal than many had imagined. But Tarawa's legacy is not only tactical. It also changed how Americans understood the war. Combat film from the battle was released to the public, showing graphic scenes of Marines killed in action. It shocked audiences, but it also deepened their understanding of the sacrifice being made far from home. Strategically, Tarawa opened the door to the Marshall Islands, then the Marianas, and eventually to Japan itself. It was a turning point, a terrible, costly step on a long road that would reshape the Pacific. Tarawa was small, but its impact was enormous. In just 76 hours, it became a symbol of courage, suffering, and the unforgiving nature of war. For the men who fought there, it was a memory that never left them. And for history, it stands as a reminder that sometimes the smallest islands demand the greatest price.